So I'm recording this on the day after the tornadoes hit the 6 states, Kentucky being hit the worst. I think it was Missouri, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Illinois. I might be missing one there. And of course, Kentucky got hit so hard. As of the recording of this video, I think there's 100 people suspected dead. It's quite tragic. Here in December, you know, when things are cold and miserable, of course, it's not been a terrible winter, and that's probably why the tornado hit was, well, here in Missouri, it was 70 degrees all day long. And then, I don't know, about 8, 9, I don't know, it may not have been that late. Let's call it 7 o'clock, just for argument's sake. The rain started up a little bit. I'm going to back up. The rain started at 5 o'clock. I guess by 7 o'clock, we started seeing lightning and thunder. Here in this area, we were under tornado watch. But there was a few tornado warnings east of us, southeast of us, well, just pretty much east, southeast Missouri. But I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock, Carolyn said, hey, Arkansas got hit with a tornado. So Arkansas is just south of us a bit. A tornado hit a nursing home, killing 2, injuring 5, several trapped. Well, then I woke up this morning and the rest of the country, southeast of the country, had been hit, with Kentucky getting the worst of it. But that's how what happens is you have a warm front all day long, and all of a sudden a cold front comes through and smacks it, and then it starts twisting. You know, you got the cold air and the hot air, and it's mixing and twisting. A lot of people say I don't want to move to Missouri because of tornadoes, but tornadoes aren't very common here in the wintertime, so it just happens everywhere. Tornadoes have hit all 50 states. So it's not like you're immune from them, it's just less likely to get hit from them. Now, you may remember Joplin, Missouri years ago. That's just west of us, not too far actually from us. It's one of those things that you really gotta be aware of, but it's no different than if you live on the coast, Gulf Coast, Mississippi or Florida, Alabama, Texas. You know, they all get hit by hurricanes, and you know, I wouldn't want to ride through a hurricane. So being in Tornado Alley or Hurricane Alley, of course, you're over there on the west, you got all the forest fires and you got earthquakes. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, what was it, LA got hit so hard but with an earthquake. I think it was LA. I remember when I was in the Navy, we ported in, I guess it was LA. I don't know, just for a day, and I was in the phone booth and there was an earthquake. It shook the phone booth. And I thought the guys behind me were shaking it. So every area has its problems. Up north, you have winter storms that just will knock you out, just terrible. I mean, I was up in Minnesota one year with a storm. Oh, it was terrible. So every area has its issues. It's just something you have to deal with when you live in whatever environment you live in. Now, a lot of people tell me, oh, you're in good condition if a storm comes my way, because I have solar panels and generators and firewood and all that. And yeah, the aftermath of whatever event may occur, I'm in pretty good shape. But during the event, I'm in no better shape than anybody else. I mean, heck, I live in a little tiny house that's built on a trailer frame. Now, I do have an advantage. I'm up on a pretty tall mountain. I mean, they call it the Ozark Mountain. So, I mean, it's not like it's a mountain, but we're up here above 1,000 feet. So, I'm kind of protected a little bit. You know, we got these valleys here in the trees, but I'm not protected by a tornado, but strong winds. I know we've had 60 miles, 70 mile an hour winds here. And down here in the valley in these trees, I hardly even feel it. I remember when we were staying in this camper, there was a big storm that came through. I was worried about this camper, but we didn't even feel the wind. And now the trees were rocking pretty good. Here in Missouri, this area, there's storm shelters within a pretty close range. So even if I couldn't get the truck, we could run to a storm shelter. Eventually, I will build my own storm shelter. It's in the plans. Right now, we're just working on a root cellar. It's a long story. I don't want to get into the root cellar situation again. But eventually, we'll probably get a storm shelter here. They're not that expensive, and I think I'm going to have a professional come and do it. I was going to do it myself, and I decided that I'm just not qualified to pour that kind of concrete, and I still have to have people on the property anyway, so just have a professional do it. There are, at this moment, 331,000 people, I guess in Kentucky or the 6 states that were hit by this tornado without power. There was 100 tornado warnings all in that one night last night. So we got people without power right here in the wintertime. Again, it's not terrible conditions. It's chilly today. It's probably in the 30s right now. But if you're out of power, trying to heat your house is going to be a pain. Now remember, even if you have gas heat, propane heat, you still have a blower that you got to run. So you got to figure out how to run that. You got to think about your backup heat sources, something that doesn't run on an electric. And heck, I would say something that isn't tied into the grid. If you have a propane tank, you know, out here in the country, a lot of people have propane tanks, 500 gallons. Those are pretty expensive to fill, but if you got one, it's a nice little backup heater. But again, you got to have electric to run the blower. Now, I lived in a house that had a floor heater, didn't have a blower that ran propane. That was a pretty good deal. During all this conversation, people have said, well, at least you got solar panels, you got electric. Well, that's true. I don't have any concerns of ever running out of electric. It's not that I need a lot of electric anyways. It would be kind of bad if my refrigerator shut off long enough that the meat would start to thaw out. And so I don't even know when there's power outages here. And that's part of being off grid, is just not even having to worry about that. I thought I would tie this into a question that I get about solar panels. I've made videos in the past about how to hook up solar panels. I try to make it as simplistic as possible, but people want me to make another video about solar panels. But I'm going to go ahead and link my best solar panel video at the end of this video here. It'll be on the screen next to my face. For those that are getting confused, it's just a box that pops up next to my face. You click that, you can go right to the video. You can go in the description. I put it in the description also. It says watch next. So I'll put that video at the end of this video. The solar panels, I really don't think are that complicated. We're going to talk about a 12-volt solar panel system. You can go online, and I just looked, and get what I have, Rich Solar, R-I-C-H Solar. Type it in Amazon. They're $80 a piece. They fluctuate sometimes. When I bought them, I had to buy 2 at a time, but now they're selling them 1 at a time. I just looked at, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago. So if that's changed, I apologize. But like I said, sometimes they sell them in pairs. Sometimes they sell them as singles. Sometimes you get them in sets of 4. But so you get the solar panel, it's got 2 wires on it. And you'll be able to see it, negative, positive. And those 2 wires have to go connect to what's called a charge controller. So you're going to go on Amazon, you're going to get an MPPT charge controller. You're going to put the positive. It's so easy to look too. Right here on the thing it says solar panel. You won't be able to see it on the screen, but right here there's 2 screws, negative and positive, for solar panel. So you plug your negative wire into the MPPT, positive wire into the MPPT on the solar panel. Now, if you have multiple solar panels, you just run all the positives into the positive of the MPPT, all the negatives into the negative of the MPPT. And now you have a 12-volt system. Don't get it overcomplicated. 12 volt is easy to run because you can buy batteries at Walmart. That's how, it's just so simplistic. So just keep it simple. KISS is what I call it. Keep it simple, silly. Then you would get your battery. And so from the MPPT, you'll see a little symbol right here with 2 screws that has a battery symbol. You run a wire from the positive of the MPPT to the positive of the battery, positive or negative to the MPPT to the negative of the battery. If you want multiple batteries, no big deal. All you got to do is run positive, 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 negative, 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 negative. Then you have multiple amps. I'm not going to get into amps and volts, but they're all 12 volt. And so when you're charging, the MPPT is going to charge up to about 14.5 volts. You're going to see them drop on the MPPT. It's got a little meter on it. You can see, keep an eye on it. And then when you're wanting to change your electric from DC electric, because your batteries are DC, to AC electric, is what you run in your house, you have what's called an inverter. Now, I showed you this inverter just the other day. I had it hooked up to my truck. Unfortunately, not many people watched the entire video, so they didn't get to see this. The last 2 minutes of the video, I showed you how to hook this up to your truck so you could start your truck and your truck becomes a generator. But nobody watched it. So they didn't get to see this, but you can plug this into your truck, plug your refrigerator into this, and you have a generator. Well, I use this also for my solar system. So I hook this up to the battery, positive to positive. You see the wires, red and black, negative to negative. You turn it on, and then you'll see here, you can plug your outlets, your appliances right into the outlet. Then you have a solar panel system. If you got 1 or 2 batteries and you got, I don't know, 3 or 4 solar panels, you would have enough to run your freezer, so your meats wouldn't go bad. But what you really need to figure out is how many watts your refrigerator runs. Remember, it doesn't run all day, or your freezer. It kicks on and off. And the way you do that is your house is wired for 120 volts. So you take volts times amps. So if you look at the tag on the back of your refrigerator, you're going to figure out how many amps you have. Let's say it's 1 amp. Your refrigerator is 1 amp. So that means you have 120 volts times 1 amp equals 120 watts. So if you had 2 panels, that would be plenty of panels to run your refrigerator, because you got 200 watts. Now remember, your refrigerator doesn't run the entire hour. It runs about 15 minutes. So it's 120 watts per hour. Your panels are going to have plenty of power to run the refrigerator and charge the batteries at the same time. Remember though, that you have nighttime. So you're going to have enough batteries to run your refrigerator through the night. And then during the day, your panels have to charge the battery and run the refrigerator. So you got to have enough to do all that. But 2 or 3 panels to run your refrigerator in an emergency isn't that expensive. You figure you're going to spend $80 a piece on your solar panels. You'll spend about $100 on the charge controller, so that's $180. Another $100 for the inverter right here. So there's $280, right? And then some batteries. Those are about $100 a piece at Walmart. You can get those big RV batteries, the biggest ones they have. You get those for about $100 a piece. You can get 2 of those. So, you know, under 500 bucks, you're going to have something that can run your refrigerator in an emergency. That's about the same price as a generator. Now remember, generator takes gas. So if the entire area is out of gas, you won't have anything to run the generator. So if you could click onto that video, that'll show you more about these solar panels and how to hook them up. One pretty good detail there. I hope I can inspire you to be prepared for emergencies when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.